Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cheryl and today I'm going to be doing a video about my bookish pet peeves. Now this video is going to focus primarily on pet peeves I have when reading books or like characterizations and that kind of things I find in a book that bother me as opposed to things that people do with their books. For example, I know a lot of people get mad when people dog ear their pages, but like it's their book, they can do what they want. So this video is just primarily going to be focused on what I hate when I'm reading a book and I find. So, without further ado, let's get into my pet peeves. Number one, and this is a pet peeve that I'm sure a lot of people have, but that's cover changes. Specifically, if it's like a trilogy or a series and like the fourth or fifth book, they decide to change the cover, and then your set doesn't match, and you're just like, why? I don't want to rebuy all of these books, but I also get extremely frustrated when I have like two books in a series that look like they're from completely different series because they just don't match anymore, and it just pisses me off. And I don't know why publishers do this, because I've never heard a single person go, I'm glad for this cover change. I'm glad that my series doesn't match. Like, no one says that. Stop it, publishers. Stop it. Alright, and my next pet peeve is real people, like real pictures of people on book covers. Ugh. The closest thing I have to this on my shelf would be the selection. Now this is an example of it done better because the focus isn't necessarily on the face of the person, but instead of the dress and like all the other happenings on the cover. But it drives me crazy when you see a cover that's just like half of a person's face or just two people brutally staring at the camera. It's just, I don't look at that book and go, you're going to be a fantastic book, aren't you? You're going to be a great read. So as a result, I don't buy books typically if they have that cover, or I'll try to find a different cover for it, which is why I just don't have many on my shelves. My next bookish pet peeve is one that I know a lot of people have too, and that is love triangles. Specifically, really poorly done love triangles. And most love triangles I've read, whether or not it's an adult fiction or YA, are poorly done. And the problem is, I think a lot of authors put love triangles in their books because they just don't know how else to add drama and to add like, oh, what's suspense, what's going to happen next, who is she going to choose, or who is he going to choose. And I think it's just kind of a cop-out. In addition, love triangles are just not really something that happens in real life. I've never known a person to go, I love these two people equally, and for those two people to be going, okay, I'll compete with you for their affection. No, usually one person just goes, nah, screw this, I'm out. If you don't want to devote all of your attention to me, then goodbye. Like, because they're so unrealistic, it drives me crazy when I'm reading a book and then all of a sudden a love interest is introduced and you're like, okay, cool, and then a second love interest is introduced and you're like, oh, so we're not going to talk about the plot anymore, but this whole book is now going to revolve around the fact that she or he loves these two characters but can't choose, and is going to drag these poor characters along on their journey while they figure out who they actually love. Like, no, that's bullshit. It needs to end. I'm done with it. Alright, and my next pet peeve is abuse masked as romance. And this happens a lot. Since I became aware, I've realized just how many books use this, and it drives me crazy when I see it. Specifically, like, abusive behaviors are just written off as okay. For example, like, when you look at Twilight, no, it is not okay to break into someone's house and watch them while they sleep. It is not okay to be controlling. No, that's not how that works. That's not romantic. That's abusive. And the problem is, a lot of this appears in YA books. And so you have young girls reading this and going, oh, this is romance. This is how romance should be. This is how relationships should be. No, that is not how that works. It just drives me crazy when I see a bunch of people like fangirl over this character who's like doing really creepy and abusive things because they're being romantic. No, it's not. No. Alright, my next pet peeve is insta-love. And kind of going along with the love triangle, insta-love it doesn't happen in real life. I don't believe in love at first sight, because to me, when you love someone, you have to know them. You have to know their flaws. You have to love them for their flaws. And so you can't look at a person like across the street and go, you're the one. I don't know how I know this, but you're the one I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. Like, you can immediately be attracted to someone and be interested in someone and want to know more about someone, but you can't love them. And this happens so much in books, especially YA, where two characters will meet and after a day they'll be like, well, we're destined to be together forever. Sorry, everyone else. This is my significant other for here on out. Like, no, insta-love needs to stop. Insta-love... I will literally put a book down sometimes if it has insta-love because I just cannot bring myself to finish it. The book can be fantastic, but if these two characters suddenly love each other after, like, knowing each other for, like, a week, no, I'm not about it. Alright, this next pet peeve is something I've only noticed kind of recently, and that's publishers' new fascination with making pages as thin as possible to make a book smaller. And I'm looking at you, Empire of Storms. This book is almost 700 pages. Like, this book is smaller than this book. But you wouldn't be able to tell looking at the shelf. In fact, this looks like it's half the size of this one. It's not. This is the longer book in the series. These pages are just so thin. It drives me crazy because they're like Bible thin pages, and I'm afraid as I'm reading that I'm going to rip the book because if the book is good, I'm flipping pages really fast. Like, another book that's really bad about this is The Bronze Horseman. When I first picked this book up, I didn't realize this book was over 800 pages long. But these pages are like so thin that I would just rather read a really, really long book and have it take up more room on my shelf than to have these thin ass pages. I'm sorry. I don't know if some people like them, but it is not a trend I like. Alright, my next pet peeve is unnecessary character deaths. This kind of goes along with, like, love triangles, and it just drives me crazy when an author, to add drama or to add flair to their story, they kill off a character. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a time and a place for character deaths, but to me it's shoddy writing when you're like, I don't know what else to do, so let's just kill this character off. Like, half the time it just doesn't really make sense why they've been killed off. I don't like it, so I just wish authors would stop using character deaths as a way to, like, progress the story. Like, oh, the main character now has to go through this mourning period, or the main character blah blah blah. Like, to me it's just kind of shitty writing. Alright, this next pet peeve is one that has been bothering me a lot recently, and that's the I'm not like other girls. Like, congratulations. Congratulations that you're so goddamn unique and so special that you're not like other girls. That girl over there, that one that wears makeup, nah, I'm not like her. I'm better. This drives me absolutely insane when I'm reading, and I will not continue a book if it's focused on the main character being like, I'm better than everyone because I'm not like everyone. I am the most unique person on this planet, that no other girl is like me, and as a result, you should fall for me because I'm special, I'm quirky, I'm unique. Nah, I'm done with it. Alright, this next one is just a line that I'm really tired of reading in books, and that is the character letting out a breath they didn't know they were holding. Like, that's not how that works. Now, I have a lot of anxiety, and I get nervous all the time, and I get anxious all the time, but never once have I been standing there going, wow, I didn't realize I was holding that breath in. Like, and the fact that it's just repeated in so many different books, it's stop. Alright, and this last pet peeve is one that I could probably rant on for hours and could even do a separate video for it. So if you really are interested in my thoughts on this, just let me know down below. But that is characters with tragic backstories who are just awful. For example, Severus Snape. Now, a lot of people love Snape and a lot of people hate him. I'm kind of more towards the hate side. I'm sorry, your tragic backstory does not give you the excuse to mentally abuse 11-year-olds. And so I see this excused so many times by readers where this character, it just does awful, awful things to, like, the main character and to the people around them because they're like, oh, I was abused when I was young, or this, that, or whatever, so it's okay that I'm like this. That's the reason I'm like this. Now, don't get me wrong, I like kind of morally gray characters. I like it when characters are interesting, and I like it when characters do have backstories. But my problem with this comes from the fact that it's excused behavior. Now, tragic backstories will give a character a reason to be acting the way they are. But that doesn't excuse the behavior. It doesn't mean this character who's doing these awful, awful things because they were abused when they were a child, that doesn't mean it's okay for them to be doing these things and okay for them to be perpetuating the abuse. And this is just something I see all the time in literature, and I see it all the time in movies too, and just, it's everywhere. And I just really want the world to stop excusing shitty behavior because you have a tragic backstory. I'm just tired of it. I don't like it. I don't sympathize with these characters who are like, it's okay, I have a tragic backstory. No, just stop. But yeah, so those are my bookish pet peeves. Let me know down in the comments below if you have any of these pet peeves or if some of these things don't bother you. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!